Hello. We continue to talk about defamation, and today's question is where defamation is found, or what can be defamation in practical terms. Of course, defamation can be verbal and written. It's easy about written because that's where usually we find proof of that. It might be some text, an email, a letter, message in a text messenger. Interestingly, it might be found in official judicial applications where you describe your situation, but at the same time accuse somebody of some very bad things, because judicial application is considered to be a public document. Therefore, whenever you go with a judicial application against somebody, it's a good idea to check if you keep it like straight, strict, let's say professional, maybe diplomatic, but at least like strict to the facts, and get out of your emotional assessment of the situation. Normally that's why you hire a lawyer, but that's another story. It might be in some book, it might be in some news publication, some essay published. It might be in some screenplay, some plot. It might be on some like visual thing, like a TV show, especially again if it might be transcribed and again published, and so on and so on. It might be a poster somewhere. It might be even some graphic image, like a photo, for example, or something which like might be seen as a mockery, let's put it this way, when something is added to your image, for example. So wherever it might be recorded somehow, it's a document, and in this sense, it's written. Verbal, and here, as you see, there is sort of an overlap, because if something was spoken, but in a document, where recording is a document, well, this actually dichotomy is sort of artificial, because verbal it's or written it, as long as you can prove it, it's there. But technically, it might be found in like some public statement, during some even toast at some kind of celebration, or in a song which is sang like here in front of people. It could be on the air. It could be just shouted out on the street before a crowd, or before some people or several people. It can be broadcasted, as we discussed. So whatever the source, as long as you can prove that this particular piece of bad information was spread, verbally, written, recorded, drawn, it still can be defamation. Not necessarily that it is, as we discussed before, but it can be. Then what kind of text? Verbal or written or recorded? Well, clearly a direct statement can be defamatory, but it also can be an implication, like more or less transparent, so people could really understand what was implied. It might be some insinuation, some speculation, some inferred conclusion based on something which might be seen as facts, or not so much as facts, but still. It might be spreading a rumor, it might be even questioning a rumor, but bringing up this rumor to question, and because of that, just again adding some bad feeling about you among your environment, like many people, small group of people, but still, because even categorically denying something might bring up that something which people were not aware of before that. Well, that happens. Even discussing some leaked information, though like veritable information or plausible information or something that the person discussing might sincerely believe in, still could be seen as defamation as long as it's an attack on your reputation and dignity. But again, it depends on the context, as we discussed. Not even bringing up some information, but bringing up some guess about the causal link or just any link or connection between this, and these situation or fact and yourself or your actions or even your thoughts, as long as it's plausible and as long as people would believe that, people around, and change their attitude towards you because of that, again, that might be seen as defamation. Very often people think that if they're telling the truth as they know it, that's a good defense when it comes to defamation. Well, not always. Because sometimes something might be true, but none of our business. And discussing that truth might damage somebody's reputation, which would not be justified by the idea of freedom of speech, for example, because it's of like no value to the society. So the only result would be the damaged reputation, while that kind of speech could be, let's say, easily suppressed without damaging the fabric of freedom and democracy. Then telling the truth would not be exactly a good argument against the accusation of defamation. So, and here it might be a good idea to think when you're going to spread some information. Because one thing is like a benign joke in a circle of friends where everybody would know that it's just a joke. And the other thing would be the same joke in a circle of friends where some people do not know exactly much about you or about the person joking, so they might consider what's said as not a joke, but as something which would reveal your true nature or something, and that might damage, well, as always, dignity, honor, reputation, might be a source of defamation, might be seen as defamation. So as you see, many things could be seen as defamation, and it should be balanced from both sides, because some people think that whatever they say, it's protected by freedom of expression, and it's true, or at least it's their own opinion, so it's protected and they can say or publish whatever, and that won't be defamation, and they might be wrong. On the other hand, as we discussed, some person might feel sincerely that he or she was defamed, that the information, the word spread was particularly offensive and like egregious and preposterous, and it should be punished, and yet it might not be seen as defamation. Legal reality is different from ordinary perceived real reality around, because the legal reality, at least, well, ideally, is not tainted by emotional subjective perception. Well, again, legal reality and real reality overlap sometime, so in fact it might be tainted, but at least when you think of it, when you prepare yourself, it's good to know what are the actual rules and what are the actual filters, factors, criteria to see what's defamation and what's not. Thank you, and see you next time.